and welcome back to Season 3 of Ionized Bastards. I'm your GM, Michael. I've brought everyone in here because you all know who these fuckers are at this point. I don't need to keep introducing them. How are you sluts doing?
Great.
You know, the as that one meme says, there is much pain in the world, but not in this club or whatever it is.
No.
That's how it feels playing RPGs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has never
Michael,
RPGs have arguably never been more important than they are right now. At this moment
Michael,
in time.
Feeling slutty, man. Feeling slutty. That's what we're doing here. Here we go. Let's do this.
By the way, I would like to apologize for just like completely no selling your intro and looking down the entire time. I thought we were off camera. I forgot you were gonna.
I also did. I was only on muscle memory.
I was not trying to be rude. I was not trying to be rude by being like this the whole time.
Back on this stupid show, whatever.
I'm pretty sure, like I remembered that, like we pulled out. I was like,
when you said, "Yeah, I just have everybody in," I was just like, "Oh shit." Sorry.
I know. I was like power pulling my vape, reading a Star Wars Newsnet article, and went, "Oops, okay, never mind."
Star Wars Newsnet is still a thing? I thought they were written by AI. Interesting.
Don't you mean Star Wars Episode 7 News.com?
Real ones, no.
When last we left off, having seemingly resolved the Doxos Syndicate crisis on Vuma, the Bastards embarked with Donrit Callan and Sage back to Coruscant to answer to the New Republic Senate for what went down, more or less. During this journey, Sage explained to Fabian his troubled history with his son, who's currently frozen in a slab of carbonite aboard his ship. They explored options of potentially killing him or getting him to see their side of the whole salvage ordeal, now that salvage is interested in implanting a force sensitive with his consciousness. Thawbor went to interrogate Vera, who revealed that there is still a cache of the Doxos revenge out there somewhere. 40 went and discussed with Zuso, who chose to stay behind with the New Republic to help track down salvage. And Zuso gave 40 a difficult request in which he asked him to kill Goru Sarman. Meanwhile, Fabian went to go interrogate Halek Sliefel, who seemed a bit more receptive to working with the New Republic to take down salvage, perhaps in exchange for a reduced sentence of some sort. Hi, deuces. And so the Bastards arrived on Coruscant with Donrit Callan and prepared to answer to the New Republic Senate, but instead were told that the Chancellor would see them now, and made their way into the office of Chancellor of the New Republic, Mon Mothma. So you guys file in one by one into this nice, eloquent office with a big window. You see there's like an aide who's delivering some data pads to Mon Mothma's desk and bring some back out. And so there's a few security officials who are at the door, but they leave you alone in there with Mon Mothma. And that's where we've left off. Please, all of you, have a seat.
Well, I gotta say, I assumed I would get here one day. The circumstances, however, quite unexpected. I think it's fair to say, as well as the company. Nice to meet you, Madam Chancellor, Thawbor Sheems, Esquire.
Yeah, Fabian does like a little half Jedi bow and goes, "Chancellor, it's a pleasure."
I'm sorry, you said Thawbor Sheems.
I mean, I might have, depending on what you're about to say.
As in the Galactic Concordance, Thawbor Sheems.
I was present. I remember signing the things, mostly like administrative. You know how it is. You've been
I
around.
recall your name on the document is why.
Right, but it was a very turbulent time. You also know as well as anyone. I mean, you served in this is your third government that you served in, and very different tones, I would say, across the three of them. I quite like this one. I'm just saying.
Right. Mr. Callan, thank you for joining us as well. I see here that Mr. Callan works for New Republic Intelligence, and you are all the crew of a ship called the Ionized. You're the crew of a ship that has helped in the Vuma crisis as well, correct?
Bastard.
Correct.
Madam Chancellor, this is our beloved. I mean, I don't even want to reduce him to being property. This is our ward, our apprentice, if you will, our intern, 4044.
40 sticks out his hand like dangerously close to the Chancellor's face and says, "How the fuck are you? I'm 4044."
Oh, 40. We're working on some language settings on our ward.
Yeah,
You see, Donrick is like profusely
say
sweating.
ass.
Like,
I wouldn't exactly introduce him to polite Chandrillan society just yet, but that's what you all talk about with the New Republic, right? Takes all sorts, it takes different strokes
I'm not
to
public
move the
ready.
galaxy. Oh, you absolutely are.
in spite of the onslaught of whatever that was, Mon Mothma does keep like a solid composure in spite of all of it, and she just sort of nods politely and is like, "It's a pleasure, 4044."
Yeah, and we didn't actually name the ship, but you got to admit it is very punchy. But correct, we did, in so many terms, I would say, save the entire galaxy, which I know you've come across several different galaxy savers in your day. I don't need to tell you about that. Probably just another Tuesday for you.
Well, this Xarian incident was very sudden, and it escalated very quickly. And as much as I see the need for order, I acknowledge that all of you did the right thing and did this galaxy a huge favor. And for that, I am grateful.
It's our honor, Chancellor.
We appreciate that.
However, I am needing a bit more
Oh,
context in regards to all of this.
we're great at that. I love context.
I've read Lieutenant Callan here's report,
Great. Awesome.
and there's a lot of things that I was told you were all involved in the Vuma incident as well.
Yes, we were one of the several recipients of a droid that carried the map to an abandoned droid foundry from the days of the Clone Wars. We received one, and we were trying to get all of them out of play and away from salvage. Eventually, salvage invaded Vuma, took Mr. Sheems with him in tow, as well as Lieutenant Callum, and myself, Zuzo Yord, who was not in attendance, and 4D44 and Sage, and all of us mounted a rescue mission aboard Salvage's now destroyed capital ship, the Junkyard Leviathan.
Yes, the report I received mentioned the pirate raid that was attempted there with a stolen Star Destroyer. But this name Salvage comes up multiple times in the reports.
Yes.
And Callan kind of speaks up at this point. He's like, Madam Chancellor, whatever reports you were given regarding Vuma downplayed the severity of this, of everything that happened on Vuma and even here on Xarian, because there was a much greater threat at play with this droid. Fabian has interacted a little bit more, as has his crew, so perhaps it's best that he explain Salvage to you.
Well, as we understand it, the Dread Pirate salvage is a at least millennia old droid consciousness that has never received a memory wipe, nor has it been contained in any real way. It was a pit fighter on Raxus Prime for a while, eventually got off-world, became a marauding pirate, a problem that is becoming more and more prevalent these days. And eventually wanted to raise an army using the previously mentioned separatist droid factory. We were able to intervene and stop it, and in doing so, Salvage has taken a great disliking to myself and the crew. He attempted to get into bed with the new Doxos Syndicate and use the Doxos Revenge as a means to wreak havoc upon the galaxy. It is my opinion, as someone who has dealt with him firsthand, as is the same with the crew and Lieutenant Callum, that Salvage is a threat that requires the utmost attention and resources allocated towards it so that we can stop him.
Yeah, I believe the term is extreme prejudice. This is, one of those, I would say, call the big guns. I'm talking Akbar. I'm talking Organa. I'm talking Calrissian. Where are you jotting this down? Are we...
Slow it down a bit, Mr. Sheems. I want to fully understand the situation. You said he was a pirate, correct?
Correct.
Pirate, warlord, the
Pirates
titles.
and warlords are two different things.
Some people are multi-hyphenates.
goal? What does he want?
The eradication of organic life throughout the galaxy.
You could call him a genocidal pirate, warlord, conqueror, artificial intelligence.
And he understood that the Doxos Revenge was contained, though. That threat is done. And Donrick kind of speaks up. We thought that when we submitted the report, but according to Doxos,
I just had a meeting that I would describe as not ideal. You're familiar with what a rope-a-dope is, Madam Chancellor. We were definitely in rope by the time that we...
You can see the tension in Donrick's shoulders. He looks as though he could explode at any second.
I think Fabian pulls a Luke whenever Han's bitching at the Ewoks, where he's trying really hard to not make it obvious this is the funniest thing he's ever seen in his life.
So yeah, it was not ideal, and we found out that there is a hidden, final supply of the toxin at a location that we do not have access to currently. We have no coordinates. We have no leads. All we know is that, in Vera's opinion, Salvage would already be on his way to it. He is ambiguously a few steps ahead of us.
And Donrick kind of speaks up. We might have a way to get a lead. We have Vera's right hand. Halex is a bit willing to work with us if we can work out some sort of deal for her. And we do have the files of the chemist who engineered the poison. And if we can cross-reference that data, maybe get Halex's opinion on it, then there's a chance we could get a jump on this and try and find that cache before Salvage gets his hand on it and causes a cataclysm that the galaxy may not be able to recover from.
Yeah, and we can bring to the table everyone you're looking at right here, potentially one Gungan cyborg, maybe eventually an Ugnaught with a wrench, and a Lasat that I have not seen in about 2 weeks. And
plus Sage's Guardians as a support.
The Guardians. We had some other friends, and they are dead. And there was a hot dog cart, and a lot has happened.
You see that Mon Mothma isn't too focused on all the details that you just kind of flung frivolously at her. She's just kind of going over the reports, and she's a little baffled. don't understand why all of this wasn't passed up to me 6 months ago.
Well, that sounds like a question for the greatest officer to ever put on a badge, Mr. Callan.
Shut it, Sheems. I passed
I'm
it up
just
to my
saying.
superiors. I tried to get you the report multiple times. However, my superiors downplayed the severity of what happened. I think because they're a little afraid of the reality of the situation, of just how dangerous salvage is.
Well, it's a really good thing that you all never demilitarize. Oh, wait. You did.
Sheems, can it?
Just an observation.
And Mothma sort of straightens up a little bit. Finding this last cache of the Doxos Revenge takes priority. Now, this salvage, I see in the report that it mentions he implanted himself in a cyborg.
That is the latest development that is bringing us a lot of displeasure. Salvage was able to implant his consciousness into Aurochs Ryza, his first mate. He had a cybernetic implant in his mind, and was able to, we don't know how, we don't know if it required some type of direct upload or if he was able to broadcast his consciousness, but he was basically piloting Aurochs Ryza's body. And on top of the Doxos Revenge bioweapon, Salvage is also looking to implant his consciousness into a mind of a Force sensitive.
Is such a thing even possible?
Well, this is the only Force sensitive that I personally know, and he also does not know. So unless there's a panel in one of these conference halls here in the building of Force sensitives that want to weigh in, that is a question we will never get the answer to.
Fabian kind of clears his breath because he knows there's really only one of those that the New Republic can get a hold of, and Fabian doesn't know if he particularly wants to be in the same room as him.
Yeah.
Like he bumps his knee saying that.
So this is a lot more complex than we realized then. How do we like our chances with Vera's right hand?
I like them a lot, Madam Chancellor. Halek Sliefel seems to be very willing to cooperate. She is showing, in my opinion, and through what I was able to glean through the Force, Fabian kind of catches himself on that, not really wanting to lean into that whole aspect, talking to Mon Mothma, that she does exhibit very obvious regret and dissatisfaction with what she was a part of, and has made it clear that she did not exactly participate willingly in Vera's campaign.
I see. There's a lot at play here. We need to act fast, of course, to stay ahead of this droid.
And you might need to get okay with some stuff you might not want to be okay with pretty quickly. Because if this Halex thing doesn't work, we're going to need to get that answer out of a certain bratty heiress. And it might not be pretty. I mean, you got any of those, any of those repurposed probe droids I hear about from your rehabilitation programs? People talk.
Mr. Sheems, respectfully, I am not eager to repeat the Empire's methods of interrogation.
Well,
I believe in setting a better precedent for the future. We are in the foundational years of this government, and if we cave to those tactics now, we'll cave to them forever.
Fair point. Very fair. Let's hope Plan A works.
And Mr. Callan, these fine folks here they're not affiliated with the Republic, correct? No, they're outside help, but they've been regular contacts with me for the better part of 6 months. And Mr. Sheems here has helped a lot in terms of, he handed over a lot of intel about the major syndicates a few months ago.
That is correct.
As well as some of the Imperial remnant.
That is also correct. That's 2 you owe me.
And she nods and she says, that's the other place I've seen your name. The documents regarding Castor Angel.
Yeah. Yeah. That was also a thing that happened. It would be really, really nice if people didn't continue to do these things. I kind of thought we were over that after the Concordance, but no rest for the wicked, as they say.
I recall you defending him at his trial and resulting in a hung jury, at which case he got off.
With all due respect, Chancellor, I also recall Mr. Sheems helping me kill Castor Angel.
That also is true. Madam Chancellor, with all due respect, I worked with Castor Angel. I facilitated things. Whether I'm proud of those things is irrelevant for the point that I'm trying to make here. You also worked with people that I would say would be regrettable individuals. People I didn't like either. Didn't care for. But we've all had to,
Bless you, Madam Chancellor.
Even 4D. 4D has worked with some crappy people, raised by some crappy people even. It's like that sometimes. And in the spirit of moving forward in these early years that you discussed, water under the bridge. What do you say?
Forgive me, Mr. Sheems. I did not mean that as an attack on your character. I merely meant that as clarification for the situation.
I mean, if you wanted to attack my character, it would be well within your rights and probably very fair. Even amongst the worst circles, everyone speaks of you very, very highly. I have seen people high out of their mind on death sticks and spice you could not even imagine. And they still say that you seem very, very well composed and very lovely. Like they want to get a spotchka with you. Trust me.
Thank you, Mr. Sheems. Now, in regards to salvage, obviously he himself is a threat. What forces does he command at this point in time?
At current, the Armed Forces Division of Damale armaments that he also acquired in his alliance with Viridoxos. Other than that, he could have more agents. For all we know, he could have found any number of droids to reprogram to be his servants as he did before. He had already had a number of decommissioned CIS infantry working for him the first time we confronted him. So there's no way of knowing just how wide his forces could be.
Yes, Madam Chancellor, he also has several ships at his command. This is not a lone individual we're talking about. He commands a small army. A militia, maybe you could call it. But he, at this time, has forces under his control. Whether or not he can maintain control of Damale Armaments assets, who's to say? But he might start fleeing them at the New Republic to get what he wants sooner rather than later.
There is also some dispute about the ownership of those armaments. We were supposed to get a ownership cut. This is not important, but we can work it out when the dust clears. We can cut you in. We'll discuss it. It was a very stressful moment in time. Fabian lost a friend. It was bad. There was a pod race. It's been a lot. Everything that they said. He's extremely hard to kill. He has brutalized me and bruised both of my mouths, left me near for dead, destroyed my droid, got my droid rebuilt. Everything's happened. So again, whenever you want to call in, the Pathfinders or Wraith Squadron, if they're canon, just whatever you want to do. Just whatever.
Well, we'll start with this. I will begin contacting New Republic intelligence.
Great.
Figuring out where we can ascertain his movements are. Make contact with aligning systems that are not a part of the New Republic. And get their permission to act in their territories and assist them in this matter, because this is bigger than all of us.
Indeed.
You have never been more right. You know where you should start? Mandalore. Mostly because I think they would give us the best fighting chance. Would anyone else agree with that? We're just throwing out ideas, right?
Well,
You
Mandalore
said non-Republic planets. I mean, we took out a rogue Mandalorian that was dishonoring their creed. They might lend us a few fighters. Who knows?
There was an incident on Mandalore. Do you?
Right, but this didn't. Are we not, Michael? Out of game. Are we not at the point where they would already have Bo-Katan on the throne?
No, we're a couple years before Mando happens.
Yeah,
I thought we were during Mando.
No, we're like 2 years after Jakku.
We're in between Jakku and Mando.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's still cooked.
Yes.
Well, then I changed my response in canon, in Basterds canon, to be from Mandalore to wanting some other group. I want to call in
Thabor Sheem's force sensitive.
I want to call in Pirate
He's
King
slow-walking.
Gorian Shard.
Oh, and no.
I want to call in all the hitters. We're big payments. We're gonna pay gunners. We're gonna hire mercenaries. We can call Grief Karga.
I'm going to make sure that Mr. Callan here directly interfaces with Senator Organa and the New Republic Defense Force.
Oh, fantastic. Is she here?
She is not, but you'll be contacting her directly, Mr. Callan, and you will be promoted.
What?
Oh, I'm not used to having people, listen to me. Much appreciated, Madam Chancellor.
So, what do we get?
Well, you seem to be the most familiar with salvage. You will absolutely have a hand in taking him down. However, we need to prioritize the Doxos revenge. And your rapport with Halek Slifer may be the key to that.
I concur.
Well, of course you concur. You would love for your rapport to be the key.
Okay.
So, I would ask the three
Chancellor.
of you to prioritize finding the Doxos revenge. And once that is contained, we can focus on taking the fight to salvage, finding out where he's broadcasting from, and finish what needs to be done. And Donrick nods and he says, I've got a Gungan who's working on that right now, as well as a team of other tech experts. And she says, I'll make sure that I send all additional technical officers your way.
Fantastic.
Before we part ways, I think 4044 had a question and or comment. I saw you raise
not
your
really.
hand. I didn't want to walk over you. I'm sorry.
I was raising my hand because I was agreeing with what Thabor said.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's
sorry, Jerry.
Thank you.
That's a good
On the
thing to
spot.
do. That's a good thing to do for you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate that.
I have the Alliance symbol on my head right here. I was a part of the rebellion.
That's true. This is a veteran.
My
And
master
Dominic
and I
kinda
we
pipes
joined
up.
the rebellion.
His former master was sergeant during the war, fought on Endor. Left after the Battle of Jakku, and unfortunately passed. But 40 is in this body now and is helping the cause along the way. Carrying on his legacy, I suppose.
Fabian
Right,
kind
40.
of turns and looks at 40 and just mouths the word Endor.
It was very beautiful. Aside from all the stormtroopers.
They didn't do without them.
We're going to make sure there's a medal in it for you by the time this is over, 4D. Long overdue, I would say.
This is like the new Chewie gets his medal, right?
Yes.
For real.
Yes.
We'll get it in a comic miniseries.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And then also in a movie.
They just hadn't 3D printed his yet. Yeah, we're good.
That's what it
fine.
is.
obviously you can forward me any further information, but is there any more details I need to know about this for the sake of the Republic?
Not that I can think of.
You should know, which you probably already know, that my associate, who shall remain nameless just in case, anything is bugged or anything, you know what I'm referring to, that I have a package here on Coruscant being heavily guarded. So just want you to be in the loop on that.
She seems a little confused, and Domric pipes up and goes, "We're keeping his assistant in a safe house."
Okay, I guess it's not bugged in here. I would.
It's the Chancellor's office, Thawbor. If you're not safe
That's
here, you're not
why
safe
it
anywhere.
would be.
Have
the
you never
place
heard
to
of
bug.
Space Watergate?
God, it's like you guys have never committed a crime before. I'm not accusing anybody, but I'm just saying. Well, I think that's everything, Madam Chancellor. Can I just ask you one thing, just off the record?
You may.
And in a moment of very, very, very brief sincerity, Thalbor asks, do you think that's going to work out this time? Not this mission, but just all of this because you remember, like I remember, like he remembers, even Donry probably remembers the first time and then the war. And I'm tired. I don't want to have to change it all again.
Yes, that's a sentiment that seems to be going around. I understand a lack of faith in this, Mr. Sheems. I do. After 2 decades of strife, not 2 decades, it goes far back beyond that. The failings of the Republic went deep, and we're not going to fix all the problems right away. But we have to try. And we have to set an example for a better way forward. And that's why I'm insistent that we don't do anything to Viradoxos. Because no matter how heinous that woman is, we cannot stoop to that level. If we are no better than the Empire is, it's just a matter of time before that corruption consumes us altogether. It won't be easy. It requires a lot of us to believe and to try. But I do believe that we can make a better future for this galaxy, Mr. Sheems.
Man, you would have made a really good lawyer. You would have been really good. There's still time. You could promote someone else.
I feel quite content in my career path, but thank you.
Well, boys,
I guess I need to get you back to the prison where we're holding Vera and Halex so that you can discuss with them, figure out what our next steps are.
One more thing, Chancellor. In the name of sweetening the pot and making sure that we can guarantee the cooperation from Halex and hopefully Vera, is there any promise we can make them in terms of reduced sentences or commutation on anything in return for their cooperation? It's going to be very hard to just tell them we'll do our best and for them to lay down their lives in this effort.
Yes, that I understand. Are you confident that Halex is being genuine in this?
I trust in the Force.
Very well, then. If she proves an invaluable asset in finding that last cache of the Doxos Revenge, a full pardon.
Thank you very much, Madam Chancellor.
I'll send the documents your way, confirming that.
Thank you.
She kind of directs an aide to get on that, and the aide quickly rushes out of the room to go start that. Now, is there anything else?
40, you got anything? Any questions for the nice lady?
It has just been very nice to finally meet you.
It was nice to meet you as well, 40.
You bet your ass.
And so
I learned
Domric
that from
quickly
Zuzo.
grabs 40 by the shoulder and starts getting him out of the room.
Ass.
The sweat
Ass.
is just
Ass.
pouring down his face.
I think that without anything, without paying mind to it, Kimmy has very gently flown out of Thalbor's suit and went and with her droid arm stole something unimportant, like a pen.
Yeah.
Or something, and then just because it's without even needing to say it, Kimmy is knows that Thalbor would probably want something from this office. So it's probably a gold Chandrillan calligraphy pen just got nicked off the fucking desk of the Chancellor and has made its way into Thalbor's pocket.
And you see Domric
Star Wars equivalent
his eyes
of
are wide, and he's not saying anything, but he's like, "What the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?"
She wanted a souvenir. She's not gonna care.
I would say as they leave, I think all Fabian does is just be regard her and kind of do a little half bow again on the way out.
Well, look at that.
And as soon as you get out of the office, Domric kind of looks over at you, Fabian, and he's like, "So, for future reference,
Yeah.
in regards to your background, what needs to be said about that? We probably should have discussed this in advance, but
well, if pardons are going around,
I think 15th Brother is a need to know basis thing, and I don't want you to lie on my behalf if it'll get you in trouble.
got it. So essentially operating as we had been.
Operate as we have been, but if you get grilled about it, don't piss away your career to lie for me.
I think we're a little bit past the point of me pissing away my career at this point, but
Well, still, you have a lot to lose, and if consequences catch up with me in a very real way, then I had a good run of it. But don't lie for me.
very well then. I guess I can get you over.
I will definitely still lie, just to be clear.
You can lie. I have a hell of an attorney if they try to bring me in.
Why is everyone volunteering me to work for them in the last
Hey,
10 hours?
I gave you 50 credits on the Gundark's Nest, right?
Yeah,
If I remember correctly, somebody said, give me some credits.
Yeah.
I gave you some credits. And then you
Yeah.
said, I'm your lawyer now.
Sure, but
So you're my lawyer.
there's a generally accepted when I am beaten nearly to death, we are no longer an employee. This is a friendship.
Well, he's not the one who beat you to death.
Are you?
He was the one who saved you from getting beat to death.
Just in general, I got beaten to death once Fabian came into my life. Fabian is both a blessing and a curse.
I think it was
entire
twice,
crew.
actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Anyway.
and then you
lawyer.
saved me from the Mandalorian. I'd like to think if we're friends now, and Fabian kind of winks at him when he says that. I'd like to think if we're friends now, that if I were in legal trouble, I could call one of my dearest friends, one Thalbor Sheems Esquire, and see if you can help me out a little bit.
40 is doing this at this conversation. Hearing them talk to about each other as friends and stuff. It's just like his core programming is just like purring like a cat right now. So,
well, I'm glad that you're enjoying this, 40. Look, let's hope it never comes.
my
to that.
friendship lawyer.
I will be your friendship lawyer. That sounds relatively low stress. So,
It's friendship.
what exactly is the play? we just gonna. I mean, we've been asked very nicely by quite possibly the most beautiful and eloquent person I've ever met. Let's just be straight up about it. I mean, did you see her dress? Like,
She looks incredible.
let's just be real for a second. We can be respectful about it. I'm just saying.
No,
I
you
just
got
want
a
to
point.
acknowledge it. And she is very kindly
She
and,
smelled like
and
lilac.
poetically that is also true. Asked us to not resort to violence. And look, before the little speech she gave at the end, I was ready to leave the room and still do violence. But I've been convinced. And so we would have now. So if Halex's method was.
You're listening to someone other than yourself?
Look,
when did this start?
If you could rock a redhead pixie cut like she could, I'd listen to you too. But you can't. You fuck. You nerf hurting fuck.
You know, I can't argue with that one, Thobor.
Jesus. Do people say Jesus? Do you think people say like Mortis, like in the Star Wars universe? Like who do they curse to?
I know a lot in Legends. It's a lot of like force forbid and force this and force that.
So Donrick turns to all of you guys. And he's like, okay, so I guess I take you guys to the prison where we're keeping them. We work out final details with Halex. Get her to take a look at the death chemist's data, see what she can tell us. Because if she, maybe something that the Doxos Revenge was shipped to will provide some insight, it'll give us a start at least.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Let's whip some ass.
That was a good one.
Yeah,
that was a really good one.
Exactly what the kid said with perfect context.
You're getting better at this.
Another metal
Thank you,
hand.
fucker.
Another metal hand. Ping! High five, 40.
Yeah.
Wait, Fabian, you have a metal hand?
Yeah, he takes off his glove. He's like, Vader cut it off.
40 goes,
What the-
ah!
Wow. So the person who just chastised
I'm just waiting
me
for a high five.
with this is the Chancellor's office. If you're not safe here, where are you safe? Just let someone walk in with a cybernetic completely unnoticed. That means that there wasn't even a scanner on that nice woman's door.
What's hilarious is that like all the bastards would know this because I know last season I made a comment that while we were talking, Fabian was like doing maintenance on his arm on the ship. So everybody who lives on that ship has seen this arm.
I thought
Yeah,
you had just
Donrick
a
has
really
it.
shiny
That's
glove.
Oh no, buddy. It got cut off in my Inquisitor days. But
Oh, I'm sorry. That's
40,
rough.
yeah,
40,
they jump you
40
in.
grabs
They
and
jump you
kind of
in.
like Han, like Chewie does to Han, it starts like stroking Fabian's head.
Well, you got to keep in
As
mind
the-
it's
on the
complicated
turbo
because
lift.
at the time of it being chopped off, he did deserve it. So it's
You know what's fucked up? I didn't even do anything yet. It was like maybe like a week after Corellia. So like I just watched Jax die. I got my shit kicked in by an Inquisitor, and then I was like, I don't know about this whole dark side thing. And then Vader showed up and he cut off my arm, and it was really fucking scary. And Grand Inquisitor was all of those people are dead and they deserved it.
controversial.
Yeah.
choice.
Well, no, were you saying something, Sheems?
No, I guess it's time to save the galaxy again.
Yeah. But hey, at least we're getting help and recognition this time.
Yeah, by the
Big
way,
deal.
congratulations on your promotion. I hope that every single time you get addressed by your new rank, you think of us.
Hell yeah,
He doesn't
buddy.
respond to that and proceeds to lead you guys to the penitentiary where Vera and Halex are currently being held. So you guys get there, go through security and all that. Donrick's having a talk with the warden, and they're currently moving Halex into an interrogation room so that you can speak with her. And Donrick kind of moves you into a little briefing room where you can all discuss this, and he joins you all there. All right, so how do we want to play this? Are we just going to present the deal to Halex straight up?
I think so. I asked Mothma about Halex and Vera. She only answered on the Halex front. What do we want to tell Vera?
I don't think we need to tell shit to Vera personally.
I'll lie to her. You know,
about what?
I'll lie to her and say that she's going to get a pardon too. Soften her up a little bit. Anything that we can do to make Halex's attempts stronger.
Mm-hmm. Are we thinking of getting Halex to interact with Vera?
I mean, isn't she going to need to?
Not necessarily. She was essentially the one in charge of Damale armaments.
She said she didn't know much. So, I mean, if she could take a pass to some of these documents and we can cut Vera out completely.
I mean, I would love to cut Vera out completely. Vera made it sound to me like it would be impossible to get this location without her.
I mean, of course she'd say that. She wants to walk and kill Clyde and Marcello. So, of course
sure, but she knows that Halex is also she knows that we would go down the Halex route unless we're doing exactly what she wants us to do. Based
off of everything Halex said, I think the last thing Vera expects is for Halex to turn on her. Truly. I don't think Vera has this in the cards at all.
She should expect her to turn on her because Salvage already did. She's losing allies left, right, and sideways.
She looks at Halex like some devoted servant, which in fairness she was for the longest time. But as far as Vera is concerned, based off of everything Halex said, who I'm inclined to think is a more reliable narrator here, Halex has gone around with everything Vera's asked of her, even when Halex protested the use of the Doxos revenge in any real way. You know, Halex happily, but willingly agreed to try and kill us after begging us not to be a part of this. I don't think she's anticipating Halex turning on her. So if we can get what we need from Halex and Halex alone, that'd be amazing. But we will go in with the shock and awe of Halex working with us, and that will put Vera on her back foot for the first time since we beat her on Exarian. She's been in control from her cell. This might be the upset. So let's try with Halex alone, have her look over everything. If that works, great. If not, we can put her in the same room as Vera and see what she can get out of her.
And even then, we can make that plan C. I foresee perhaps a plan B where we go to Vera and tell her that Halex flipped on her and just see how she reacts.
Prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah, I've seen enough of these situations, right? Do you have any idea how many interrogation rooms I've had to show up to? Oftentimes, much to the dismay of the people running those interrogation rooms. Constantly, they love to do this, turning them against each other. We know this. Well, she already flipped on you, so we know. Then they ask, well, what do you know? And then we say, that's none of your concern, but just know that we know. Just to see what comes out. And if there's any conflict in the information, then we know we got a liar.
So do we want to split it up again? Dawbor, maybe you and I go to Vera, Fabian, you and 40 go to Halex?
Sure. I think that's a good idea to start. This time we will be in communication, though. Because if we can cross-pollinate in any way, it might be beneficial.
All right. Donrick, where's the communicator?
Yeah. Do we want to just do it via datapad?
Datapad's the best way. We can be more inconspicuous that way.
Cool. Sure. I'll hold the datapad.
Mostly for you guys, because I don't think Halex is going to mind either way what's going on our end.
All right. We'll see you in a few.
All righty. So, Fabian and 40, I guess, as well. 40, do you want to go with Fabian?
Of course. I would love to go with Fabian. Yeah. Let's go.
Thanks. All right.
Metal Arm Bros, baby.
Yay.
We don't have a thing like that.
Donric does not acknowledge you as you're like, we don't have a thing.
Okay, so
That's
as we're
your
walking
thing.
over there,
That's your thing. Is very much not having a thing.
as we're walking over there, I
Not
want
having a thing
Bubber
is
to
having
like
a thing.
lean over to Donric and say, "Look, you're probably already quite familiar with what I'm about to say, just as a concept, but I'm a really, really, really good liar, and so just let me lie, follow my lead."
Look, Thobor, I know your shtick at this point. All right,
I'm just saying, don't go in there.
we're 6
trying
months
to do
out
what you
from
would
Vuma. I know
normally
you a
do.
lot better now.
Right. I just don't want you to do what you would normally do. Think like a scumbag just for 15 minutes, if possible.
I thought I was supposed to think like a cop if Halex ratted on her.
But think like a scumbag in terms of what you and I are doing. Act like a cop. Think like me, if you are capable of that.
Okay.
Is this the Star
How much
Wars
am I getting
version
paid
of,
for this?
like act like a man, think like a woman? Is this
Stop.
Space Steve
Please-
Harvey?
Please stop. Please stop, Judge.
So,
Please.
Fabian and 40, we're going to start with you two. You guys arrive at the interrogation room where they've currently wheeled Halex in, almost like Hannibal Lecter style, in that same like prison kind of getup that I described. And they do unlock it and exit the room so that you can discuss with her. You see that she's gotten a little bit more treatment for the severed hand at this point. Still nothing like mechanical, but it looks to be like more professionally medically wrapped and whatnot.
There's a long silence for a second, and 40 goes, "You look well."
Doing better. I see that you cleaned up well from the battle as well.
I have had a nice.
Sorry, say that again. My connection cut out for a sec.
Oh, I have had a nice polish. Yes.
Good
So,
for you.
Hey, Lex. I have good news,
I like good news.
and I have neutral news.
All right, out with it then.
Okay. I have negotiated terms with the Supreme Chancellor herself. That
You're shitting me.
not for a second.
He is indeed not shitting you.
That provided some conditions, you will be receiving a full pardon for what happened on Exarian.
Makes sense given the circumstances. Specifically is the verbiage in which I need to assist? I don't want to get screwed over by, New Republic lawyers and all this.
Don't worry, you'll have a much better lawyer at your disposal should anything go sideways. We need you to help us locate this remaining cache of the Doxos Revenge. That is
There's
the
a remaining
main
cache of the Doxos Revenge.
Yes. Vera knows where it is. Refuses to tell us, and she is heavily implied that Salvage also knows as well. Or at the very least has a better idea than we do. So with us, we brought along, I'm assuming we have like an extra data pad with the information.
Well, I
on
assume it was sent to your data pad that you're communicating with Donric on so that you can like show her,
Okay. Cool. So if I need, I'll just be like, hey, give me that for a second.
Yeah.
So I hand her the data pad, basically say, this has everything we were able to get from the Death Chemist, anything we were able to get out off of Exarian, out of the casino, that New Republic intelligence is able to glean. If you can give us any guidance from these documents as to where we can find the Doxos Revenge, that will already put us at a huge head start. If not, we have a couple contingency plans on that front. And he hands it off to her. He like sets it on the table so that it's easier for her to use her good.
I was about to say, yeah.
Yeah.
She basically immediately like goes to work, starts scrolling, sorting through files, trying to find like shipments of where it was shipped to. As this is happening, we're going to cut back to Thalbor and Donric. Thalbor, you enter this interrogation room where, much in the same way, Vera is kind of like chained to her like interrogation desk, much like she was on the ship. And she says, "And I see you brought a friend this time. How quaint."
Yeah, honey, we're home. And we bring, well, good news for some of us. Not so great news for some.
You say that as if the Chancellor isn't going to play ball and give me what I want.
Well, you know, the Chancellor, we had some interesting discussions. But, you know, I'm a talkative guy and I get around, and we had some other interesting discussions too with other people. I'll give you a guess.
I'm not going to play games, Sheems. If you intend to relay information to me, just do it.
Well, I really wouldn't consider it a game. I would consider it a matter of life and death, potentially many lives and potentially many deaths, because
it's not a game for you. It is to me.
Well, then you might want to cash out, fold, leave the table. Goodbye. You're criffed because we got the location without you. You have nothing to offer or trade.
Oh, and you just came here to gloat about it then.
That's right. I wanted you to know, and I wanted to see your expression, and so did he, when we tell you that we got one Halex Slyful to confirm the location.
Oh. Sheems, I'm not some common criminal that you can deceive with so easily like this. First of all, Halex knows better than to turn on me. She has been by my side for the better part of a decade. And second of all, she can't tell you where it is because she doesn't know where it is. I did this, not her.
I think you'll find that she would turn on you because, well, we approached the Chancellor with talks of pardons and we secured one, just not for you. I mean, Daddy's silver spoon doesn't apply here. So the Halex is extremely motivated to turn on you because your operation's falling apart. Everyone doesn't like you. Salvage turned on you. People can see it's a sinking ship, number one. And number two, trust that between our encounters with Salvage, our connection to the New Republic, Halex's know-how, we sat down, had a little meeting while I was out and about, and we got this location. So you're screwed, and you're not getting anything out of this deal. You will rot, or you can bash your head against the wall until you're dead. It's irrelevant to me at this point.
Make either a persuasion or intimidation check. I'll leave it up to your decision.
Motherfucker couldn't say deception. I mean, it's just like,
well, because it's not really you. Like everything you said was true. You're not deceiving her.
Sure. No, but my persuasion is the same as my deception, so it's fine.
While Alden does that, just as a quick like aside, I remember Salvage's like last message to us before Thalbor shot him was talking about come meet him in the void for a final showdown. Can I bring that up to Halex to see if that might have anything to do with anything? Like whenever you cut back to us, I don't have to do that right now, but just putting that in the conversation and also refreshing that. So like that might be also a lead Thalbor can use in that moment. Okay, cool. We'll address that when we get back to me. I was going to say that while we had a lull.
It is a 27, 16, my plus 11.
All right.
So I have deception and persuasion both at plus 11. This man will never actually. If there was not for the fact that there were other people in this like that were combatants, like Thought Worships would never see like any resistance whatsoever. This could literally be a legal
I love the way you
procedural
build your characters because
RPG.
it's so similar to how I build mine. You know,
Yeah, that's what I'm doing in Baldur's Gate.
building
Like I have the Sorlock going right now that I started solo, and it's like I haven't done Warlock or Sorcerer at all in BG3 outside of Will, and so it's like much like my Bard, I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, that's how I like bypass like 90% of the counters. Like Act 2, you can bypass like all of the Thorm bosses and shit.
All the
like,
Thorms, your gear. Yeah, I'm not doing any of that. No.
I had to fight and kill every single one.
Yeah. These fighters, am I right? These fighters, these paladins, these fucking combatants. Anyway, so 27 on that perspective.
Yeah. So Vera says, it doesn't matter if you offer her all the pardons in the galaxy. She still can't lead you there, Sheems. I did it independently of her in case this exact event occurred.
Oh, so you did think that she would betray you eventually. You're
I hoped she wouldn't.
No, you were wrong. You've been wrong about a lot lately.
Quiet.
You seem a little rattled. And you know I'm right.
Rattled?
Yeah. Seems like you know that this is where your story ends. Our story will go on and we'll mop up your mess. But as far as I'm concerned,
planned for a decade my vengeance against Radel and Marcello. I listened to Halex. I tried to go with her plans, her failed attempts to assassinate them, and it failed. We did it my way. It almost succeeded. And when I get out of here, when you're left with no other choice but to give me what I want so that you can save your precious galaxy that doesn't deserve the air it breathes, I will find you and ensure that everyone that you hold dear gets a nice taste of the Doxos revenge, or the closest thing I can find to it.
fine speech. I just wasn't sure if we were at the opera house watching Squid Lake or if you were gonna say something of relevance, because all I see is yet another pathetic tragedy in the grand history of Evereni lore. Kind of seems like you're all really bad at planning. And
Pathetic tragedy. Thought Sheems, I lost everything.
Really audacious of a Nepo baby to talk about losing everything. Look, 10 years ago when you started this plan, I was already rich, and that's because I'm self-made. And 10 years from now, I will be even wealthier, and you will be a footnote in the story of Thought Sheem. So if you want to offer up anything to try to save your skin, because once we negotiated the pardon, we started negotiating what's going to happen with your sentence. So, if you want me to pass a word on to the Chancellor so you don't spend life in a New Republic prison cell, feel free, but we have the location and we don't need you. And you're about to be the footnote. You're about to be something that we talk about down the road at the bar. Remember that crazy asshole. That's your future.
You remind me of Radel Taro.
In that I have immaculate drip.
All your words, your fixation on wealth. Tharbor Sheems, who do you love most in this world?
Decidedly Tharbor Sheems.
You could never understand what it's like to lose the only person who's ever cared about you.
And you're positing now that this person you're referring to would be proud of you for the way that you've been acting?
Absolutely.
Interesting talk from a loser.
God, it's so nice to hear somebody else get that.
Anyway, enjoy prison food. I hear it's terrible. And that's all I got for you. I don't know what their stance is on conjugal visits and the such, but I hope it works out for you, I guess. I don't know if you're going to have the HoloNet access. I just,
Halex can never lead you.
We're going to be there soon.
Like you is beneath me.
I'll send you a scan of the cache when we find it. Goodbye now.
And if she has turned, she'll be next on my list after I've killed you.
Well, she did turn, so you should just add it to the list now. By the way, that's a really bad color on you. Goodbye.
Fabian steals the data pad back from Halix room. She's like, just one moment, and just sends a message across it that just says "vibe check?" ?
Donrick replies, Thalbor being Thalbor, Vera being Vera.
Salute emoji.
Yeah.
Donrick kind of shows you the conversation Thalbor before you walk out.
Yeah. Thalbor grabs it. Thalbor types, new information, thumbs down. Admittedly hilarious, thumbs up.
Step 3, profit.
Basically.
All right. So meanwhile, back at the other interrogation room, Halex takes the data pad back from you. There is one thing here that stands out to me.
And what would that be?
We shipped out the Doxos Revenge to a variety of places, make it a little bit more inconspicuous, gathered it all within Damali armaments, of course.
Yeah.
There's one name here. Cav Verlin.
Cav Verlin, 2 words?
Yes.
I'm
Is
asking
that a person or a planet?
Person. Real piece of shit.
Naturally.
But aside from me and Goru, this is the only other person who knew about Vera.
Do you know where we can find them?
I do. Assuming he's still up to his same old shit, but he's here on Coruscant.
Coruscant?
Yeah. He's a real piece of shit.
That?
Involved in the arms dealing trade. Works with a lot of other syndicates. And did feed us information about the Doxos. Not the Doxos Revenge, the Doxos Syndicate over the years, but
Interesting. May I?
Please.
And Fabian kind of like force pulls the data pad and then just starts like frantically typing potential lead here on Coruscant. Get ready to move out. And with another message, Donrick, get all of Halex's effects out of lockout and get her scheduled for a prosthetic immediately.
Okay. Donrick shows, like, Thalbor, you're looking over Donrick's shoulder and you see these messages come through. Donrick types back, can absolutely get the effects. Prosthetic may have to wait given the urgency of the situation.
Just copy that. Hey, Lex, quick question.
All right.
In the event this turns into a fight, how capable do you think you'll be with one hand?
Mr. Martel. Sorry. Fabian.
Yes.
If you think I can only shoot with my right hand, I wouldn't be much of a master assassin.
This is why I like you. You're going to be released and all your effects return to you very soon. We're going to track down this lead. You're coming out with us into the field, so we have a mouthpiece. If this goes well, you won't be coming back. Here, to the prison. You will survive.
Fabian, why is your heart rate increased?
Did we catch up with them like in the hallway by now?
Well, they haven't left the interrogation.
Okay.
I assume you would.
They haven't walked
over to this room.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say at this point, if you want to go in there, you can.
Yeah, let's just regroup. Might as well, since we're having the information download at this point. We walk in. What up? It's Thobby and the boy.
I see back. You survived.
Yeah, we survived. We decided to go and shit all over your former boss. It didn't really give us anything new, but it was deeply satisfying. And she's completely rattled and is no longer a factor in this situation.
I wouldn't count her out yet, but
I was going to say, hey, Lex, how many connections does she have on the inside? Like from within prison, how much power does she actually carry?
Very little, I would say. Barring anything she set up prior to being imprisoned.
All right.
Because obviously I didn't know about this cache of the Doxos Revenge, this contingency that she had. But I wouldn't worry about her breaking out or anything like that. She doesn't really have any allies left. And like I said, she's stayed hidden for the past 10 years. The only exception that she made herself known to was Cab Verlin.
Okay. Perfect.
Now, can Thalbor do some sort of, can they do a check here? Like, would I know this name as a
make a lore check
person? Let's make a lore check. All right, we got +4 in lore. Let's see here. It's a 13 in lore.
Okay. You've seen the name pop up here and there in regards to like arms deals, but nothing substantial comes to mind really.
Caverlin's it's a player. I've seen the name from time to time. Maybe signed some shipping forms, got some permits here and there for a guy who knows a guy who knows him. Let's hope he's not a crazy and that he doesn't have any monsters or a pod racer. Let's try to have a normal one.
Or
no to monsters and pod racers, definitely crazy.
No, well, I guess it has to be it's like in Falcon and the Winter Soldier when he's like, it's one of the three. What is it? The three
big three.
It's one of the big three: aliens, wizards, and
robots.
What's the other one? Robots. Yeah, exactly. So it's like we got crazy, I guess. All right, crazy. Now I don't want to be insensitive, and maybe you already talked about this, but are you gonna be, just are you good?
Am I gonna be engaging in fisticuffs?
Not literally fisticuffs. I just. Are you going to be good considering you aren't exactly the same fighter you were just like, a couple days ago?
Thauber, I may have one hand, and I don't mean this as a threat, but I could kill you before Fabian even realized I'd moved.
You're just going to take that from her? Not going to say anything?
I mean, we all know whom took whom's hand here. It was like in the flirtiest way Fabian can say it. Because I think Fabian got a little bit of sauce there from her. And it was like, a little tete-a-tete.
40. Don't even process what's happening right now. Don't engage.
Fabian, your perspiration levels are increasing as well. I am worried for your health.
Buddy, I'm fine. I love you. I need you to stop saying this.
We don't need to know about any increases that are happening in Fabian's body right now. But
oh, I have many.
But 40, please note them. Please note them.
There is an increase in.
Wait, here's a question. How has Halex reacted to the fact that everybody has called Fabian out for clearly having the hots for her?
Halex has make an insight check.
I was about to say she strikes me as a person that gets this a lot,
13 on the die. So 15.
Okay. You do get the impression that Halex gets stuff like this a good bit.
Yeah.
But she's used to dealing with Clyde the Male types that are so clearly beneath her and irritate her. She maintains a fair bit of composure and is almost completely ignoring all of that as it happens. But you do catch a little hint of a smirk.
Because it's the 12th fucking time it's happened, in game, inside of a week.
Yeah. You do catch a small smirk. you don't know how much of that is at your expense versus she's enjoying the kind of flirtation, you know?
Word.
Now, out of left field
I'm riding
suggestion.
the high of bagging Shadowheart, so I'm like, okay, let's see how much I can ride this out.
Oh wait, out of character question, real quick. When we came from the, I guess cruiser. I'm not sure if we defined what type of ship we were just
Probably
on.
cruiser, yeah.
Probably just a big cruiser, yeah. When we came from that cruiser, did we come in a shuttle or did we come in the Bastard?
You came in the Bastard.
Yeah, I think we disembarked on the Bastard.
We came on the
to
Bastard.
land on Coruscant.
Okay, so we don't need to go back to that cruiser.
No.
Okay, because I was gonna say if we were going back to the cruiser, GM could probably like find like a prosthetic that like isn't quite right. But like,
Hell, I mean, we could go there. Zuzo could do it. I got to get my lightsaber connector from Zuzo still. Plus,
slap it.
This guy.
So we should do a stop then. We should do a stop anyway.
Yeah, we should make a pit stop. But also, this guy is on Coruscant, so we don't even have to.
Respectfully, Donald kind of pipes in. Time is of the essence, and if I recall correctly, Zuzo did send a shipment with your lightsaber parts to the Bastard before.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Oh, remind me to calm him. Okay,
I never look at the mail.
Excellent. Let's hit the Bastard so I can get my effects. Send Zuzo a transmission with an update. We can kit up and we can mount up and go find the son of a bitch.
Oil bath.
And Halix, like for the first time, like actually reacts and says, "Did you just say mount up?"
Why does everybody react to mount up like this?
He thinks
Master Mundi said it all the time on Megiddo. We were there for like 6 months.
Oh my god! Again with Megiddo. Every day with fucking Megiddo.
I don't bring up Megiddo every day, okay? But in my defense, some crazy shit happened on Megiddo.
Nobody
that was
ever
that one thing that
shit.
Orox Salvage told me was to mention Megiddo to you, and I didn't. So,
well, there it is.
See, now that's insulting.
We have now said the word. We have said the word Megiddo in this conversation more than people who live on Megiddo. We have dragged that planet back to relevance. We're getting so much done today. Now, is there a bar in here, like in employees? Like, is there a
bar in prison?
like a guard's lounge or something, like anything? Like, do you guys have a mini fridge? Like, is there any refreshment?
Why are you perspiring?
I'm just saying.
Don Rick's like, look, I don't know. I know your clients can be a little white collar at times. This ain't that kind of prison, Thawbor.
Oh. All right. No slap ball?
I don't know why that hit me.
No slap ball? No slap ball court?
Halix just kind of like playfully like smacks you upside the head. There's your slap ball.
Well, it's actually kind of suggestive of you to slap my hump in front of this guy over here. Fabian, what is it like to have competition on the field now?
Oh, buddy, I'm a pit fighter. I'm used to one-on-ones.
I'm not sure who you were aiming that at, but
no, you just have a cup of tea. Step in the ring, mano a mano.
Jesus.
Hey, he killed a Mandalorian. How many Mandalorians have you killed?
I beat the dog shit out of that same Mandalorian. Thank you very much.
Did Halix Sliefel just highlight Thal Borshim's combat record? We are truly in unprecedented times. 4D, please make note of that.
Noting.
Well, before you get too ahead of yourself, Sheems, I think out of everyone that raced in the Pod Race Royale, I think you were the least effective combatively. So it all evens out.
Sure. I'm going to internalize that criticism and still comfortably rank you above Donrick on the list of future junior bastards.
What?
It's something I'm considering. It's just like with Zuzo sort of tapped out and busy as he is, we're sort of a 4-man operation. And we also have Donrick, but like Donrick doesn't really like qualify in my mind. So I figure we give him a junior status, but now we have you. But, I'm also not quite sure about you. Quite frankly, I would give the spot to GM, but I think he's an event somewhere. So, we're going to We'll sort it out. Thankfully, we can fly it with 3. You know, I'm assuming you would probably want to lounge after the couple days you've had. So
I can get back in there, no problem.
all right. Well, let's get going then.
Mount up.
Alrighty. So as you all mount up, you return to the Bastard to grab your bets.
It's fucking stupid.
I love that became a bit. That made me so happy.
It's so stupid.
So Halex accompanies you with Donric back to the Bastard. Donric won't accompany you for the actual mission, but
Oh, of course not.
Halex is sort of like, as you're gathering the lightsaber parts, she finds the part where you've kind of mounted like salvages, electro staff, and like a few other like knickknacks from your adventures over the 6
months.
And
I put Jax's lightsaber there as well, so I'm just down to the 2 swords.
Yeah, and she takes a look at the lightsaber and she's like, I almost killed you with that thing.
Yeah, it came pretty close. Closer than most, actually. Very impressed.
Yeah. I guess I'm sorry about that. I'm not used to apologizing for these sorts of things, but
I mean, listen, actions speak louder than words. You're team now. He says it so Thalbor doesn't hear him say it. So I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. Besides, you drew the short straw on that one. And Fabian saying that is he's like, like Cal Kestis style, like fusing the connector to the pommel of his old Jedi lightsaber. Just a very quick job in like the little workshop areas Uzo used to have.
Tinkering with your swords there?
Yeah, as an Inquisitor, the saber staves came kind of standard issue, and thought might be not a bad idea, learning from you, to maybe go in with a second blade handy. And I got some. He kind of like clicks them together for the first time, and like makes sure it actually works, and that like the weight is not crazy because of the hand guard on the one. I figured it might not be a bad idea, and he kind of ching on the part again, and then hooks them back on his lightsaber separately to go and pack in a little extra.
I meant to ask you before, and she raises the stump. Yes, buddy. Yes. She says, before this, that sword was a different color. What happened? Is that a Jedi thing that I'm just not aware of?
Yeah. Red lightsaber blades don't occur on their own, really. Lightsaber kyber crystals don't. And like Fabian's trying really hard to not get way too wonky about this.
Try not to mansplain kyber crystals Force.
Like, we don't have a lot of time, but he also doesn't want to scare the hose either. Where he's like,
good luck.
So lightsaber crystals, kyber crystals, they typically come blank, for lack of a better term. When somebody who first gets them meditates with them, they take on their color. More often than not, typically blue or green than the other colors. To turn one red, one has to pour all of those negative dark side emotions into it permanently. It's not so permanently, changing it to red from whatever color it was initially. It's called bleeding a crystal. To purify a crystal, one has to meditate with it and basically do the opposite version of that to try to heal the crystal and bring it back to a natural state, called purifying it, and it turns the blade white. I'd been trying to do that for months, and in a fucked up way, I spent a lot of time really afraid of what would happen to these guys on that last little campaign, and that fear, that anger at the idea that I could lose them was clouding my judgment. And kind of being in and out of consciousness, when Fabian kind of gestures towards the lightsaber wound he has on his gut. Once you took me out of the equation for a little bit, I realized, they were safe. They could handle themselves, and they handled you and Drock Wraith with just incredible bravery. And I couldn't be more proud of them, and realizing that, I had a duty to protect my friends, but they also had a duty to protect me. It gave me a clarity, and, there were voices I heard in the Force while I was trying to come to that helped me kind of, get my feet solidified. So when I came to and I kicked up and I called the lightsaber to my hand, like all of that was kind of flowing through me, and it channeled into the crystal, and Fabian ignites it, and he's like, and now we got this. And I couldn't be more proud of it. And like I said, in the fucked up way, thank you.
Well,
I'm just laughing at like Deuce is having like zero respect for the fucking drama.
Deuces don't
I know.
fuck right
This
now.
moment.
I have to be looking at the camera.
This dog
and
is hot. This cat is like high as a kite right now.
This is how he loves to be held. So that's what's going on right now. And that's part of why he was yelling at me. And he likes to chew on my arm. So that's nice.
Good for him, honestly.
Ow,
Yeah,
please.
get him. Get
So-
him, Deuces.
Halix kind of like smiles and laughs. And she's like, well, I guess you're welcome for that. And for what it's worth, I'm kind of, I guess at a similar crossroads here. If Vera was so willing to cast me aside and leave me out of this and go down this path, then
Listen,
I don't know.
people who lose everything have two options at the end of the day. They can either honor what they lost and try to make it so other people don't have to deal with that, or they can go out of their way to inflict it upon other people. I did that second one a lot. That's not what I'm about anymore. And like I said before, I'm a big believer in second chances. I think you're going to kick ass out there.
We'll see. I don't know. All this still, I don't quite know how to describe it. I'm not used to getting second chances. But I mean, no offense, but the smart move would have been to kill me back on Xarian.
I agree.
Maybe.
Logically speaking, of course.
No.
Logically speaking, sure.
Logically
but-
speaking, emotionally speaking, all of it.
Well, you hang around this ship long enough, you'll end up on a third, fourth, fifth chance. Maybe even sixth.
What number are you on, Sheems?
6.
Probably 6, 7, 8. I do all right. That was a really nice speech, by the way. I mean, I read that the red crystals were synthetic. Pretty
Common
sure
misconception. Common misconception.
Interesting. Yeah. Well, having witnessed, a little bit of the drama along the way, I will say it's been quite the ride. And if at any point it smells like salt water or vague, like fishy sort of, you're not the first team member that we've had with an unexpected vibe, I would say. Make yourself at home. And 4D. How you doing, buddy? You gonna vibe with our new teammate, I guess?
I will, but did you have something when you came in here? Because you seemed to do something to Fabian, and I just don't want him to be sick when we're fighting. As all. As I just are you up on your vitamin levels?
Well, no offense, 40, but if Fabian's not intimidated in my presence, then he's stupider than the Gungan.
I like her.
Fabian just
That
kind
is
of
fair.
nods because he knows there's nothing that's going to come out of his mouth that isn't going to be deeply embarrassing.
Other than that, I welcome you, friend.
Yeah. Sorry about, trying to kill you and stuff.
Same.
40 is the best shot that you could have on your side in this. You're going to get along swimmingly. And 40, maybe you'll pick up some things from Halex. Who knows?
Yeah. Do not like killing, but I am unfortunately very good at it.
He is.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, stick around with me. There will probably be more of it.
Well,
Oh no.
let's hope it doesn't start today. With wherever this meeting is.
Unfortunately, it probably will, given where we're going.
And where
So
is
where
that
exactly are we going here? Don't say
Yeah,
13. Don't say 13.
It's going to be a bit of a homecoming for me.
Okay.
Where I'm from.
Great.
We're going down to level 13.
Awesome.
Feeling you'd say that.
And that's where we're going to end this episode of Ionized Basterds.
Yeah, you fucker!
Because Deuces likes to attack my arm.